Welcome everybody to Brutally Honest Reviews, only on the Brutally Honest Network. Here today, we're reviewing The Girl in the Spider's Web.
You sound really enthused about that.
Which is yet another American port of a foreign movie that was way better as a foreign movie.
It's true.
This is a series. Anyone know the book series history for this movie?
Well, this isn't even written by the original author of the book this is based off of. I would more call this a fan fiction sequel.
They called it a soft reboot.
Stupid.
Online. Basically, I haven't read the books, but there are 3 that are the main trilogy that in Sweden, the movies are considered, they're called the Millennium Trilogy. That's what they're called in Sweden. Based on the first 3 books by, I'm not even going to pretend that I remember how to say the guys.
Stieg Larsson?
Nope. Stieg, that sounds way too American. I don't think that's how you say it.
Unless it's his pen name.
It's coincidence of the day we've had.
And then there were 2 additional books written after the original author's death by this other guy. And this movie is apparently based off of that.
The first one of those.
But I did not read that, so I don't even really know how accurate it is, but
okay.
It's a big jumbled up pile of garbage.
Sounds stupid.
That annoys me. But anyway, with me today is Rob, Taylor, and Sam. And we gonna fuck shit up. Well, at least 3 of us.
I'll fuck shit up.
Oh, should I leave?
We're referring to Rob.
You're
not you.
You have to win. You have to win us over. You have to win.
I'm not going to. It's going to be my own personal reasons why.
Make me want to see it.
Yes, make Rob want to see it.
My sensual
Rob is our
crush.
historian today.
Yes.
So, Girl in the Spider's Web stars Claire Foy as the lead character, whose name is
Lisbeth Salander.
Elizabeth the Salamander. And
Don't do that.
I know, it's stupid. We open the movie, and can you explain the other movies a little bit? I just want to know how, because I haven't read the other books or seen the other movies. How do we get here? According to at least.
We never get here.
Yeah.
Let's just say, how does this one open up? It's with the husband who abuses his wife, right? That's the opening scene.
Oh, yes.
Horrible exposition.
So we see this man, he abuses his wife. In comes Elizabeth Salander, who is the vigilante for battered women. She kicks his ass, gives the wife money. In general, that's how we open this up. But the part that gets me, and this is where I immediately stopped paying attention to this movie, is in the Swedish versions, in the Swedish films, Lisbeth does not have a sister. That does not exist. And her father is an incredibly huge part of this entire story in a way that, him being presented in this new movie without going, skipping into the plot already, but basically, the representation of her father in this film is blatantly inaccurate, and I have no idea how they came up with this version of his character.
Could this be a prequel, though, possibly?
No. Literally, okay, so in the I'm just gonna get right in because I'm mad about this. In the Swedish films, Lisbeth's father abuses her mother. She tries to kill him at the age of 12, and when she tries to kill him, she lights him on fire.
Amazing.
So he is a mutilated man. He survives, but he is all disfigured, and he is a Soviet crime boss. And basically, her entire life and every single thing that happens to her in her entire life is based on this group of men who are trying to cover up her father's crimes. And she gets abused and put into the system, and all these things happen to her because of her father's gigantic role as this crime boss who she's attempted to murder as a child. And then all of a sudden he shows up in this new movie. She has a sister, and he's apparently done weird sex things to them. Yeah. And I have no idea how that happened, how they got to that storyline.
And I know it's a spoiler, but she doesn't kill her father in this one.
No.
So how couldn't it be why wouldn't it be possible that it's a prequel? Because she's confirmed that never has a sister, or they just never mention her.
The Rooney Mara one is the American first one, right?
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, that has nothing to do with that one either. This first one. They look completely different, so it's like there's no way these follow the same thing.
It's so different. Like every character is played by a different actor, so it's hard to say. Like it's hard to say if they even tried to follow the storyline because to me, if I were to approach this as like a totally different, unrelated story, maybe I would have liked it. But I have no way of connecting this one to the first American one or to the Swedish ones.
I think that's probably why I liked it, because I don't have that
background,
that previous knowledge, and that's why I'm the only one who liked this.
I just think that a lot of it was mixed up in terms of her relationship with her father and the missing sister that doesn't actually exist, and it's just weird to me. She does have a half brother in the Swedish versions, but he's like a grown adult and she doesn't know he exists until the end. So it's just, I don't know. That's why I checked out of this Spider's Web new movie, because I love the originals. I think they are amazing movies and everyone should go watch them. But that's my piece.
Maybe that's why they based this one off of the new author's book.
I read...
So it would be connected, but not so connected?
Right. So I don't know what happened with the original American film. Something went down because everybody that was involved in that film, like, checked out. Yeah. Like, Rooney Mara, Daniel Craig, like, everyone involved
she got
was just
so
like,
many piercings and stuff.
I'm over this. So I don't know what happened there.
Made no money.
Maybe it could be that it has nothing to fucking do with the other movies.
That's why what I'm thinking.
Right. So when I looked online to try to figure out, like, how did this even happen, they had said that they went with this version to try to capture a new crowd, like a new fan base that didn't need to know the original, because it was so far removed and because they literally skipped 2 books in between. So like the American versions go like the first book and then it's like the 4th and there's like no middle. So I think they completely like kind of rewrote the story in a way so that new people who were watching it for the first time, like you, Sam, like if you said like you don't have any context of the background, so for you, you really enjoyed it, and I think that's kind of who they were targeting.
Because like didn't see the first American one either, but I am familiar of like kind of the behind the scenes shit that happened because like I was super impressed by Rooney Mara and like the fact that she did like change her entire appearance to play Lisbeth in that one, but I know exactly what she looks like, and Claire Foy did look nothing like her, so I'm like, I don't think these are supposed to follow each other. That didn't necessarily bother me either, but I also didn't know the extent of what existed before those as well.
Everybody probably jumped ship because it was clearly not like
now I'm upset.
The same. Like everyone probably was like again probably going to the studios like this is kind of like a money grab, like it doesn't really
made no money though.
The title is what got me, honestly, because I am kind of familiar.
That's why they didn't continue with the trilogy.
Well, it wasn't going down a better path by not following the storyline. I mean, I don't know. I
still like it.
Keep your opinions that you had though, because I am interested to hear like how you interpreted the new one. But for me, like I honestly don't even remember most of this new movie because I was so mad. Like I kind of checked out.
Yeah.
But
so we see initially we're just introduced to Claire Foy. We're introduced to Claire Foy as Lisbeth. The salamander. Slander. Sorry, I couldn't say it. And she basically forces this guy who is basically, she has videos of him, you know, screwing hookers and like doing all this.
Beating up prostitutes. His own wife is beat up. So she just shows up after the man is trying to comfort his wife all alone. She shows up, traps him in like a was it like a noose hanging from his feet kind of thing, like he's hanging from the ceiling swinging back and forth. She does a little on her phone and makes all of his money go to all the prostitutes and his wife, and tells his wife to go away. He won't bother you anymore. If he does, I'll transfer all his money to XYZ and put this video out or whatever. Money's already done. The video he should put out. So that's our introduction to the character. And then over the course of the movie, we go back and forth between like flashbacks and real time, and the current task at hand that Claire Foy is placed under is what? I seem to forget. She's been hired to retrieve Firefall, which is a program that was developed by some government level agency, I don't remember exactly who, which basically gets all of the codes for all of the nuclear weapons. So the guy who developed it is like, oh crap, I probably shouldn't have done that. This is too dangerous. Nobody should have this.
He goes under
so
protection,
so he hires her to get it from, I don't really remember who has it, but he hires her to retrieve it, and his ultimate goal is to destroy it so that no one can use it to activate nuclear weapons.
And so that guy, the guy who created Firefall, is played by Stephen Merchant, which I was really excited to see him again, but he kind of sucked. I don't know. That character.
I don't
was
know
kinda...
him as an actor, so I don't have...
Well, we know him from An Idiot Abroad, for one.
Yeah.
He makes some appearances in that show. It's just a funny kind of like reality travel.
He was in Logan too.
He was in Logan.
He was decent in Logan.
He was in something recently where he played an alien. The Star Wars, or I don't think it was Star Wars. I think it might have been like Ready Player One or something. Either way, he played an alien. He was good in that. In this movie, he has a kid that he's trying to protect, the kid ends up seeing his own father get killed.
And then essentially the kid becomes the key because he's the only one who can interpret the code to open Firefall.
Right.
And between that, there's an entire miscommunication as well in the film because the guy who created it thinks that Elizabeth stole it and ran off with it. But the spiders took it from her, right? They broke into her place and they're like, we gonna take this bitch, and like blew up her place, and she's like, fuck, I gotta go, but like, cause she didn't go to the drop spot.
Right.
And he was like, she stole it, da 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 da. Now there's this whole thing to go and get her because they think that she took it.
To use it or
and
sell
she's
it.
like, I fucked up, I have to go fix this now. And
The spiders also run by the sister that doesn't exist.
Right. So that storyline.
I weirdly enjoyed them though.
So let's go into that storyline because so we bounce back and forth. Like it's hard. Like we do kind of go back and forth, so it's kind of hard to like give an actual timeline. So we go back and forth between the past and the present, and we see Elizabeth growing up with her sister
Camille.
And they're playing chess in a room, and all of a sudden the father comes in, asks Camille to sit down in the bed.
Real weird.
Puts his hand on this weird device that we find out what that is later. We do see it at the beginning of the movie, but we're not. We don't really understand.
You don't really get it,
right?
Elizabeth ends up deciding to, after her sister denies to come with her, jumping out the window down this cliff. She decides to jump by herself, which later in the movie, as we're seeing from Camille's point of view, is interpreted as betrayal. But on Elizabeth's point of view, it
was also betrayal.
It was also betrayal. Like she tried, but she didn't come with. Which I thought Camille should have fucking checked herself because she kept getting raped. She chose rape.
Yep. Yes, she
did. I know it's her father.
She wanted daddy's love.
Yeah.
No, I think she's just too afraid to jump. That's all it is.
Yeah.
It's presumed rape, not just torture, but we do see so essentially he uses this weird vacuum sealed bag and seals her up.
Some latex kink shit.
It's real kinky and real weird.
Yeah, I'm sure there's probably bad stuff involved. Yeah. But anyway, Camille takes over the family business after her father dies. We learn later that he had passed. We don't see it, do we?
Isn't it that I think there's some point where Camille fakes suicide?
3 years before all of this happened, she is supposedly dead because when Elizabeth's fuck buddy is there, she was like, why haven't you told me that you have a sister? Why didn't you tell me? And he said, usually when loved ones die, we grieve. And she's like, she's not a loved one or all that shit.
Right.
She's like, she killed herself 3 years ago. And it was like, super great that it happened. Like, yeah. But they mentioned that the dad died too, like Elizabeth said it, but she didn't really explain. She's kind of just like, yeah, they're dead, bye, I don't want to talk about it.
Right. Yeah. So from Elizabeth's point of view, they're both dead, but in reality, Camille faked her own suicide so that she could go underground and start the Spiders, which is this, crime organization or whatever. Yeah. So I guess in some weird twisted way, this version kind of makes this fake sister the dad. Like in the Swedish films, where the dad was the leader of this underground crime thing. Right. In this version, the imaginary sister is. So I don't know if maybe they thought that was close enough, but it's not.
Yeah. I don't know. I wasn't very impressed.
So far, I don't want to watch this.
Okay.
Like
we'll see if you change your mind.
Like at all.
Also, like, another thing that bothered me is like the stereotypical all red attire that Camille would wear. It was just
I thought
really
she looked
cliche.
like a bad bitch.
Yeah, but it was like so cliche. It was like
It was completely.
It's like James Bond, but like it wasn't like a James Bond caliber movie in my opinion. I don't know. Yeah. It could have been. It easily could have been. But like that entire like backstory was the same backstory more or less in Sucker Punch. And if you remember Sucker Punch,
I
it kind
love
of resolved.
Sucker Punch.
Oh,
Please don't talk bad about anything. I have that shit on DVD. I love
I
Sucker
never saw
Punch
it.
so
I don't
much.
I can't have an opinion.
It's purely because whoever the colorist is my best friend.
Stylistically,
It's so green. It's so green. Everything is just so dingy looking.
Same
and
like screen movies, in case anyone
So
is not aware.
Zack Snyder movies, Zack Snyder movies are known for being really pretty but really bad. Like
I think that's why I just
Watchmen.
like the style of it.
Yeah, but you know Sam watches
Dawn of the
for
Dead is
effects
good.
and the
I literally
visuals,
watch for the
so that
visuals.
makes sense.
Dawn of the
That's
Dead,
fair.
and I like Man of Steel.
Dawn of the Dead was pre him trying to over stylize everything.
Yeah.
And it was also one of his first films. He didn't have the actual say and ability to be able to do that.
Maybe they should take his say away then, because that was actually alright.
Unfortunately, if he makes films that actually have good content, I'll watch them. I mean, I'm still gonna watch them. They end up being pretty like good looking, but that's about it. I don't know.
I just remember when Sucker Punch came out, I really wanted to be it for dress up as one of them for Halloween, but I never saw the movie. So
Still
I was
do.
like, I don't think I can do that. But I just liked how they looked.
But if you remember the runaway scene, and even the little room that they are kept is almost identical to the one in The Girl in the Spider's Web, with the window and the snow blowing in, and she chooses to run away. It's kind of like the same scenarios. I didn't really dig it.
I just want to go to some.
Is there any
Swedish
slow
Underground
motion in this movie?
No.
Well, Zack Snyder didn't direct it.
I know.
He's just trying to make connections where he can here.
Yeah.
Bitchin' soundtrack.
So yeah, I don't even know. This is where I forget the rest of the movie.
Where are we at?
Well, they end up in a bunch of different fight scenes. Well, not fight scenes, but like showdowns. One of which is on a bridge in a car. This is before the little boy sees his dad die. Actually, no, I think it's
That's
after.
after it. Yep.
She ends up backing up. Elizabeth ends up backing up her car over one of those suspension bridges.
Oh, right.
And
That was cool.
Her sister Camille's on the other side, and as she gets away,
She's fucked up on drugs while this is happening. Also, she got hit in the neck with the syringe, and then she was on the floor freaking out because they stabbed her in the neck with the syringe. The spider dude made her hold the gun and then shoot him in the head. So, the idea was she was going to be found there by police with the gun in her hand, having all that happen, whatever.
Yeah.
Then the bitch pulls out amphetamines, crushes them up, and snorts them off the floor. And I was like, yeah.
That was pretty cool.
And then she got up and she's just stumbling and driving. I'm like, this is not safe. But I liked the stumbling camera effects. A lot of why I liked this was because of how it looked. Just so you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's on drugs and then is just like, gotta go. And yeah, then we end up at the bridge. Yep.
So that happens. At the end, her sister we end up at the same cliff at the end.
Back at the house,
back
the
at the
childhood
house.
house.
Yep.
Because that's where Camille, I guess, is running her operation out of, the original house. So Elizabeth goes back, ends up back at that house to try to get Firefall or intercept Firefall however she needs to. It ends up in a showdown with Camille and Elizabeth at the same cliff where Elizabeth jumped off of when they were kids to escape the rapey father. And lo and behold, Camille ends up falling down the cliff. We don't know if she's actually dead. She probably isn't.
She is. She's bleeding out before she fell off.
I think she's dead.
I think she,
Was she bleeding out?
Yeah, she got shot.
She got
was
shot
just,
and then
away.
She did the like classic, like, oh, there's a cliff behind me, I'm gonna fall.
Yeah. She totally did that on purpose because I feel like at that point she wasn't afraid to fall. That's how I interpreted it.
Right.
Because the whole purpose of that scene was them to be like, you left me, no, you left me, and did all that shit. Closure. And Elizabeth was like, what do you mean this is my fault? You're the one who chose him, like, over me. And then that's when her sister drops the briefcase and just walks off the back. She's like, you know what? Fuck you then.
Yeah.
And then just falls off the back. And then that must be so frustrating because it is the whole beginning. There was one trailer where they mentioned a sister, so I was like, oh, that bitch in the red's her sister. Yeah. And then in the beginning, I was a little bit weirded out at the fact that her sister didn't choose to also jump, but I think it was just the initial fear of jumping out of a building. Like, she would have rather, like, been raped than die. And then when Elizabeth made it out, I feel like she realized her mistake of not going with her, and that's where all her pent-up aggression came from, because she was like, this is your fault, he raped me for 16 years. Like, you're Elizabeth Salander, the girl who hurts men who hurt women, but you never came back. Like, why didn't you help me? And I'm like, bitch, you could have helped yourself. Because she was like, we need to go. Like, there was multiple times in the beginning when they were younger where she was like, let's go, and she chose her father. So I'm like, Team Elizabeth, till the end.
So after all of this, we finally realized that the title "The Girl and the Spider" is what it means. It's because she was in the web of the Spider Syndicate group.
Yeah.
I think that I think that the whole purpose of writing in this sister was to give Lisbeth someone to have an emotional connection to, but it's bullshit because for 6 hours of the trilogy originally, like, that's her whole thing, is that, like, she doesn't connect to people, and it's not in a way where you're like, I hate her. You're kind of like, she's badass and I love her and I understand her trauma and why she is the way that she is. But my problem with the Claire Foy version of Elizabeth Salander was that she lost a lot of her edge. Like, she lost her kind of like coldness that I don't know, I think there are a few times, I think it's because of the sister aspect where at the end, like, obviously this happens in, it's pretty standard, like, movie structure, where at the end it's like, suddenly we all have emotions and we're going to talk about it. But for me, I felt like it was forced for her character because it's just not, I don't know, it's just that level of, like, compassion or interaction, or I don't even know what the right word is, between her and her sister, and also between her and the boy throughout the movie. Like, even for a kid, even between a kid, like, Elizabeth wouldn't have, in, like, the character that I like, that wouldn't have been true to it. And I know I keep going back to it. I feel
like I'm not going to like her in that version then. I liked her so much in this because of that. And I think it's just because I feel like she was so, like, she was smart with how she was with the kid, 'cause she needed to gain his trust, because at the same time, like, when they were playing, like, chess or whatever the frig they were playing, like, she gave him a piece that had a tracker in it, and it's like, if this kid was afraid of her, he wouldn't have taken anything from her. So I feel like it was smart, but also, like, because of how this begun with how her shit with her family was, she saw that this kid just lost his dad, even though he was bitching about wanting to go to his mom in San Francisco the entire movie. I feel like she just saw, like, this is a kid, I don't want this kid to hurt like I did, I'm gonna at least try to be somewhat, but I still feel like she was still, like, whatever, because, like, with her fuck toy, when she was like, I have to work, you need to leave, I was like, that's, and she still got her to help her too. Like, she had enough of emotional connection with people that they helped her do what she needed to do. She had allies while still being her, like, lone wolf self, I felt.
Why is she like that? That was such a long time ago. Like, she didn't, so what's her backstory?
For Elizabeth, you mean?
Yeah.
Like, why is she guarded? So I only know, I can only speak to the Swedish storyline because number one, there is no American storyline because they skipped two whole books. But in the Swedish storyline, Elizabeth tries to murder her father because he abuses her mom. So she's growing up in a house where her mom is getting beaten by a drunk dad every day. So she tries to kill him. Because of that, she gets put into a psych ward because they're like, this bitch is crazy. She threw fire at her dad and she's 12 years old. Yeah. So for her whole life, even as an adult, she's what is regarded as a guardian of the state. She has a guardian. Mm-hmm. So even as an adult, there is someone within the Swedish government who controls her money, who controls everything she does. And that person, they also did this in the American version pretty well. That person ends up sexually assaulting her every time she asks for anything. And he essentially is in control of her entire life because it's his responsibility to report to the government or whoever it is that she has good behavior. She's doing what she's supposed to do. Yeah. You can give her money. You can let her have a job. You can let her be an adult. Yeah. Whereas if she were to say no, I'm not going to give you a blowjob right now, he would be like, I guess I'm going to write a bad report. And it's kind of one of those cases where it's who are they going to believe, their government employee or the supposedly psychiatrically unstable? Well, is that a word? Yeah. That was correct, right?
If the storylines don't connect, it doesn't make any fucking sense for where she's acting in this movie.
So there's no...
She just doesn't want anyone else to be hurt like she was.
There's no connection in terms of, how she suddenly became this...
Vigilantes don't fuck shit up till they die.
I don't know how that happens. Because, the storyline ends where she sees Michael with Erica. So, they have their love interest, which I don't remember in this new one how much of that is shown because I fell asleep, between Michael and Lisbeth.
It's just an awkward tension. Yeah. Nothing happens between them, even though I thought in the preview they made out with each other. But whatever. They don't ever touch each other in this. It's just kind of this implied tension when she's getting her back stapled.
Right.
And then she's like, are you going to use me again to write another, is this just another article to you or,
right.
Why are you here?
Connect the storylines a little bit. Or is that not supposed to be that person?
No, that is a connection. Yeah. So in the first one, Michael Blomkvist, or however you say his name, hires her to help him write. He's a reporter, so so he hires her to help investigate this story that's a different story. It's a murder that he needs to solve, and he ends up working with her to solve it, and they have a little thing where he's the first person that Lisbeth is lets her guard down around, and she falls for him in as much as this character can because she has limited kind of emotions, but the story ends, the first American one as well as the first Swedish one ends where she realizes maybe I can be in love even though my mom always told me never fall in love, the mom that's constantly been abused. And she goes to see Michael at the end to kind of basically be I got you a Christmas present, let's stay together or whatever she thought was going to happen. And as she's waiting for him to come out of the office, he walks out with Erica, who is his more stable, long-lasting love interest. So she that was her moment where she was well, fuck this, never going to fall in love again. And that's how it ends. There's no connecting where she suddenly became a vigilante in this movie. But that connection was made. By the tension between the two of them.
They definitely just jumped into everyone knows she's a vigilante because even though I haven't seen all of them, I am very aware of who and what Lisbeth Salander's supposed to be. So that's why I was oh, this shit looks good because I was familiar even though I didn't watch.
I mean, and it makes sense. It makes sense that she would become that character eventually. It's just that they never showed how
properly.
There was never a point at the end where she suddenly was now I'm gonna go kick some ass. It was kind of just maybe I'll see you again, and he was see you soon, and that was the end. You know what I mean? And she kind of just went back. She had her money, she had control of her life again because the whole guardian thing was resolved, and all of these things wrapped up, but there was never an indicator that she suddenly felt motivated to go get revenge for all these women that have been misused.
Yeah.
I won't.
This whole one just started because someone called her, though. I mean, she did start with the whole, I'm going to beat up this dude who beats up prostitutes. That's purely because she beat up someone who committed sexually abusive acts towards other women, like how she was treated when she was a kid. So that is pretty much, because they only really focused on that, here's me and my sister getting sexually abused. I'm going to fight for other women being sexually abused. Because that's pretty much how this happened. He was beating up hookers. He was having sex with the people he works with's wives and shit like that. So they were related in that sort of way. And then she was hired. And then that's when this whole other shit happened, and where a bunch of shit went wrong.
She does take revenge for herself 110 25% in the original story, because she gets raped by that guardian, and then she goes back, she tases him, ties him to the bed, rapes him with a dildo, and then carves with a tattoo gun, "I'm a sadist pig and a rapist," into his chest. So like, I've seen that. She's all for the whole getting revenge thing, because that was for herself how that happened. And she tells him, like, "I'm tracking everything you do. If you don't keep writing my good reports, I'm gonna send this video of you raping me, like, to everyone," and blah blah blah. So like, the concept of revenge is very clear for Elizabeth
Was
Solander.
she as tech savvy in the
yeah.
Okay.
More so, actually. More so. So that's her whole thing, is she's a hacker. She's hired by this security company to do research, and she has her big, like, thing is that she has a photographic memory, and for some reason it's like she's very ashamed of it, which I never quite picked up on, like, why that
wasn't touched upon in this at all.
And it's not touched upon in the American version either. They like gloss over it. One of the biggest things is that in the American versions, she's a lot more confident and kind of like, yeah, I'm a boss ass bitch, I know it. In the Swedish version, she's kind of just like, I'm smart and I can see things and remember them.
Is she as alternative in the Swedish version?
Yeah.
Say that again?
Is she as alternative?
Yeah, more so.
Yeah.
Even.
Oh, he really?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
I think that Rooney Mara's portrayal was much more accurate to the Swedish version than Claire Foy's was. Claire Foy was turned down a lot, I think.
They also got a really good actress to play the one in the Swedish version.
Oh yeah,
was it the same one?
Noomi Rapace.
Yeah.
Rapace.
From Alien Covenant. I mean, is
I
it
don't know
Alien
what
Covenant?
else she is in.
I'm gonna Google.
Prometheus, that's what I meant to say.
Yeah, she's in Prometheus. She's good in Prometheus.
I might know her if I see her. Damn, I wish I did heavier research before then, because I really didn't. I knew of books, and I knew of the first American one, because I was very like, ooh, I like this alternative character that looks really cool, but I need to watch the Swedish.
Yeah,
versions.
I would recommend it. They're all on Netflix.
I just think Claire Foy is so sexual in this one. Like, I went alone to this and was like, shit.
It's also like impressive that Claire Foy was in First Man and then this, which are like
I'm very
polar
impressed by
opposite
that.
movies in terms of.
I loved her
It made no
accent.
sense in this at all, because I didn't know the backstory, and I didn't know, and you swore it didn't connect. It just didn't make any, like, the way she was acting didn't make any sense. There wasn't enough in this one for me to go in not knowing any part of the series and go, I'm going to be a fan of the series now. It was horrible to not tell us more in this movie if that was their intent.
As a woman, I get it. Me not knowing anything beforehand, I'd be equally as pissed too if I was sexually abused by someone that close, and then I find out that, like, cause like me, like bitches out in traffic who ran a million fucking red lights on the way here. I'm like, you all need to end yourselves. Like, you want what's best for the people, because they could hurt somebody. And she's someone who in her heart was like, I can't have someone hurting the way I did. And that's pretty much what
I just wish they
drives her.
They touched on more of the Swedish version of that backstory you were talking about, because then it would have made more sense. Because where it is, I thought Claire Foy was horrible because I didn't know any of the backstory. And I didn't know it was connected. So I thought she did a horrible job in this. I thought she was awesome in First Man. But in this, it didn't make any sense. It wasn't adding up for me.
Yeah, I don't think it was her fault, though.
No,
I think it was the
absolutely
writing
not her fault.
The writing fault. I don't think, in terms of like performance, I think, it was more on the production team than her. In terms of how they decided to direct and write this one.
Yeah. All right, well, in closing, then, thoughts on the movie, Taylor?
Rob,
thoughts on the movie?
Not gonna go see
see
it. I do want to watch the originals again now, though.
yeah,
You should.
I need to do that.
They're great. And I'm someone who
Swedish
really doesn't like reading subtitles, like foreign movies.
Oh, I
I loved all of them. In terms of this movie, I give it a 4.5 out of 10. I'd say. It just bothered me. I mean, I could probably go watch it again and just think, like, this is a completely different movie that I've never seen that has nothing to do with anything, and then maybe I would have a higher rating for it. But I honestly don't even remember most of it because I was so mad.
Understandable.
Yeah. I'll give it a 5, okay? 5 out of 10.
Generous.
Yeah, I gave it a 5. I didn't dig the plot. I thought it was very basic and believable. I mean, not believable, and very stale, like the plot. I've seen it in other movies. Nothing new brought to the table. The backstory wasn't introduced, so it made me kind of think the actress wasn't doing a job. But I know she's a good actress. She was awesome in First Man, so Claire Foy is forgiven. It's not her fault. The plot was just so like threadbare that it was just so boring to me, and I just wanted to be out of there. I knew how it was going to end 5 minutes into the movie. It's not really hard to predict.
I'm curious, you haven't mentioned how you thought about it visually, like from a film perspective.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just curious.
Some of the shots with the lighting in the rape room were cool. Everything else was kind of bland, and it was supposed to be like.
You don't like when it's cold and.
Yeah, I mean that's not if it's if all the other pieces aren't falling in line, then the theme or the color scheme is not really going to catch my eye unless it's really eye popping. It's pretty basic. I mean, I've seen way better this year. I mean,
really?
Yeah, I don't know, 5.
Like Widows.
I'm gonna rip that shit to shreds. It's my turn. So the reason I liked this so much wasn't because it was anything like crazy. Like, I don't think anything stood out besides how sexy Claire Foy is in this. It was more of like, it was an easy watch. I was entertained. It was very, very mellow in terms, like, I feel like there was action stuff, but I wasn't like, whoa, did you see that? Like, I feel like, it was like, yeah, this is cool. Like, I feel like her as a character was super badass. I liked her attitude. I liked how shit went wrong and then fixed itself in like 2 seconds, like every movie. It was very like you knew it was gonna happen, all that shit. But like, I was still entertained by it. I was still entertained. She was someone that kept my attention the whole time. And not knowing the OG shit is probably what helped me with that, because I probably would have been upset. I knew this was going to be completely different from the first one anyway, because they didn't even bother to make her look the same.
Right.
So like, this is either going to be like 20 years in the future or like not anything to do with it. But like, I liked what it looked like. I liked some of the shots. I didn't really have any problems with it. It's just because it was easy and entertaining. Like, it was a long film, but I wasn't bothered by it. Like, at any point did I say, like, is this over yet? Like I did for Widows. Tragic. But still, like, this wasn't the most amazing thing. This isn't my favorite thing I've seen all year. If this is on TV or Netflix, I will 1000% watch it again. But I'd give it probably like a 7.5, even though I liked it. It still was like very simple, seen it a million times. I just really enjoy Claire Foy in it, okay? This is for my own...
No one's
my
attacking
own
you for liking it.
just attraction, which is what kept me. If it was anyone else, I would have been like, I don't want to watch this. Enjoy her.
One thing I will say is, like, the last time I watched a movie that not the last time. Most of the time when they make a movie ported over from another country, a foreign movie, like they did for Let the Right One In, they ported that over to American. The American version was absolute trash, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And the original is still stands as one of the best vampire movies and coming-of-age movies of all time. That is usually the case, is like whenever it's brought over to America, they always try to dumb it down. They always remove the weight of everything, and the cinematography is always more sloppy. I feel like it's because it's rushed and they want to cash in on what's popular overseas. It's just really, it sucks. The last time I did watch a movie that was done well, ported over to American, I think was only done well because it was the same director who directed the I think it's German version of Funny Games. Michael Haneke, they wanted to buy the rights to that to make it into an American version and hire a different director, and he would not sell the rights unless he was also the director.
I like that.
So it's shot for
Stand
shot.
by your
that.
work.
Quarantine was like that too.
Was it REC Quarantine?
Yeah.
It was shot for shot.
Yeah.
And both of them are... So REC is still way better.
Yeah.
But Quarantine is actually...
Well, the main actress they got was a lot better in that.
Yeah. Wait, in REC or in Quarantine?
REC.
You think so?
Yeah. I don't
was
like
Quarantine
Dexter's
the corny?
sister.
Oh,
Oh,
it's
it's
Dexter's
her?
sister?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
Deborah.
think she's
I have a
great actress.
love-hate relationship with that actress.
She's part of Dexter, but she's also horrible.
I loved her in Dexter because of how much she sucked.
Really?
I kind of agree. Yeah.
It's
I
like you were
think her
just so
level of
unbearable, but I
sucklessness-
love the shit out of you.
Yeah.
I wasn't too crazy about Michael C. Hall until I finally agreed that he was kind of iconic in that character.
Oh, absolutely.
Dexter?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Come
The
on.
first
I
couple
loved
seasons, I didn't
Come on,
like him, and
Dexter.
I liked everything else but him. And then I started to like him. The John Lithgow season was the one I started to like everything. Like season 3 or something.
I love them all. But anyway.
Yeah. So that being said, check us out next week for Brutally Honest Reviews. Got another new episode for you, maybe 2. And stay tuned for the next couple of shows we have coming up.
Yep.
Rob, anything to plug this week?
Just the usual, like, rate, review, subscribe, all that.
Same. What he said.
Sam, anything?
Yeah, no, yeah, like us, love us, please. I'll buy you if I have to.
Whoa.
That's it.
Hear that? Contact Sam at Sam Rigo. Just
Claire
kidding.
Foy, if you're listening, Sam
Claire
would
Foy,
love
if you're
a dinner
listening.
date.
Oh my god. Wear the head, gimme head till I'm dead t-shirt. I want that though. I saw, that's not what that scene was. She was doing her work, but I'm like, does her shirt say gimme head till I'm dead? Because I'm about it. She was great.
So check out Brutally Honest Reviews next week. Stay tuned and hope you had a happy Thanksgiving. And looking forward to the holidays. I'm drinking a really terrible Narragansett Holiday Spiced Ale.
Gross.
In celebration of, I guess, the incoming holidays.
I guess.
Yeah. So, see you later.
Yeah, bye.